Good evening. My name is Ray Dwyer, and this is Dr. Joe Dispenza's Meditation and Book Discussion Group. Tonight, we're discussing Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Chapter 13, Create a New Mind for Your New Future. Essentially, over the past few weeks, we have been discussing the process of this meditation that works toward change and creating that new mind to enable us to change. This is the fourth week. Is that what it says? Yeah, this is the fourth week of this process. As I go back and review this, and this is the last of the 4 weeks of the process, as I go back and review this to begin this discussion, I'm in Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, page 222. And it says the suggested 4-week program is outlined on that page. Week 1, we talked about an induction. Most of Dr. Joe's meditations start with breathing in through the energy centers. That's more than just the obvious physical exercise of moving. That is moving your attention off of your survival mind into your body, into your energy centers, and bringing that energy in and up your spinal column as you breathe. And you exhale and you bring it in. And you tell the stories of your energy centers, bringing it in and converting that survival mind into love energy. Week 2 is about recognizing, admitting, declaring, and surrendering. Oh, that surrendering word, that was tough for me. As you do this, you start recognizing who you are. This is not a self-analysis type of thing of recognizing. No one is going to ask you about your stuff. It's up to you to recognize what you want to change. You want to change? Well, it's got to be, I want to change this and I want to change it into this. That's all it is. And nobody is asking you to list everything, because the way our minds and personalities, if you have one thing, it has always stuff tied to it. So if you just pick the one that's in your face, for me, it was anger, all the other trim stuff and the stuff that's hidden underneath it will be healed in the process. I'll talk about me just as keep the conversation going. I thought anger was my problem because that's how I expressed it. But as I started letting go of anger, I found that fear was my anger. And that was like fear, man, I'm just Mr. Tough Guy here. I don't fear anything, but evidently I feared things that weren't what I thought fear was about. And so I started dealing with my fear, and I found something else was beneath the fear level. And once I had a handle on the fear and it was diminished, I had to go back to a very young age and deal with my foundational issues. That was my general path. Recognizing. From there, you build up. Admitting and declaring. As you, from change to this to change to this, I've got to admit that I don't walk on water. I really messed up. My life really had some issues, and a lot of them started here. And declaring, not to the world. I will never, never, never tell you to go to somebody and say, oh, forgive me, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to tell you to do that. I don't think this work is telling you to do it either. When it says declare, the only being to declare it to is the universe. And we'll get into why. I'll tell you, it's to be honest about who you are. That's all. How can you let go of something if you won't even acknowledge it honestly, with integrity? Not to somebody else. I will never, never, never tell you to go to somebody else and tell them what a sinner you are. Spit. But we need to be honest about who we are, or how can we change? If we can't admit that we have a habit How can we change the habit? Right? Something as simple as that. Admitting and declaring. And finally, the hardest word in the book, surrendering. It was hard for me because I had a wrong definition for that word. My definition for surrender was defeat. And this boy didn't go defeat the path of defeat. I had to learn the word release. The way he uses it means release. You surrender it over, you give it over, you release it. I wish I understood that at the beginning. Would have saved me months of like, I can't do it. But I can release it. If you release it, who and what are you releasing it to? And what are you releasing? You're releasing your survival mind and the survival stuff that we hold on to. I release my grievance. I release my weight. I release the demand for justice. I release my karma. I release all of that. I surrender it to the divine. I give unto thee all that I carry. I go before the door. I go before the door of the kingdom as a pauper. I hold nothing in my hands. And when you do that, you're received as a prince. Week 3, you start everyday meditation, going through those. And week 3 is observing, reminding, and redirecting. This is where you start rebuilding what the week 2 sounded like you were kind of self-flagellating, but all it is being honest and becoming observant of yourself. Week 3 is observing and reminding. Observe yourself when you do it. You ever drive down the highway and somebody get in front of you and you just flare? You know, we don't want to have competitor drivers on the way, but on the roads, but we do. So I had to observe myself flaring and going change and redirecting. I'm not doing this competitive stuff anymore. I'm building energy going in this direction, and I would redirect, change. So you observe, you remind yourself you don't want to do that anymore, and you redirect it, and that's the lesson of change. Tonight, the lesson is about creating and rehearsing. Beginning of the chapter is on page 271. The way this works for those who are new, I read a part, talk about it, and read a little bit. This chapter is the summation of the book. So there's a lot to talk about here, lots of pieces involved, but it's really important because this is what you've been studying and reading about for the last month. So I want to see if I can really pick it apart and give you guys an idea of what we're doing. Okay? Week 4 will be a bit different from the previous weeks. First, as you read and write chapter 7, you will receive knowledge about creating and instructions on how-to process of using your mental rehearsal. Remember, to change your personality is made up of 3 things: knowledge, action, and emotion. Not emotion, and heart feelings. So we're getting knowledge. Then you'll read the guided meditation, rehearsal meditation. Next, it's time to do what you've learned every day for the week. Practice this. Do that outline every day. Make it part of the process. Don't just do one of Dr. Joe's meditation. That's not right. Do Dr. Joe's meditation, any of them, and you'll see all of these parts in it. But rehearse these in your mind so that when you know it's time for induction, when you know it's time for observing, when you know it's time for observing, and you know it's time to rebuild and create and rebuild. It's there in almost all of his meditations. As you listen, you will apply the focused attention and repetition. we are working in kind of a early format of his material. So there's a lot of rehearsal, a lot of rebuilding, a lot of still learning. Before you begin the final step series, I want to point out that the preceding steps were all designed to help you break the habit of being yourself so that you can make room, both consciously and energetically, for reinventing. This is what this has been about: changing the elements of the personality so that you are free to build what you want toward that future self that we talked about a moment ago. The skill of self reflection has allowed you to separate your free will consciousness from the automatic programs that cause your brain to fire in the exact same sequence, patterns, and combinations. Just it's a matter of wanting it and trying to create that image of your future self. In the later book, I think it's Supernatural, where you get a letter, draw circles around it, and say how you feel and how you work, or what you do. Uh, I did that, and I had my letter square, and I just had an idea of what I wanted for my future self, just a word, and I put a letter for the word and squiggly lines for the body and mind energy, and I couldn't imagine what it would feel like or be like to be that, and yet my heart hungered for that word. As I learned it, I started adding my feelings and doings. Uh, so that's how it happened to me. I've talked to people and said, no, they were doing the meditation. What's my feel? And they said they just blew up on them. Said yes, and they had the full image of how it feels and how it, and all this. It's like, oh, lucky you. um, But so there's a whole spectrum. There's no rule on how it's going to come to you. You might, one of the things that's consistent that I've talked to most people is as you're doing this, because I said, I don't know what my heart wants. It says there's very few scriptures I'll allow myself to quote in this. And there's a scripture that says, I give you the desires of your heart. It does not say I give you what you want. I give you the desire, not what you desire. Let me get that even clearer. I give you the desire. This heart call that you have is your design, divine design. And if you're tuned out from it, go to your Father, go to the Creator, go to your source, and tune into it. And when it rings your bell, you know you got it right. One of the things that I've found common in a lot of people I've talked to is that they're doing it and they get this and they get this. It's like they're having to walk through junk. And then, no, no, no. I know I did. I said, what are you giving me? That's not what I want. And then, what about this? And it's like, oh, my heart just jumped that one time I saw it for the first time. And it's like, you mean I can do that? And my angel left. Yeah, right. You can do that. Really, really just. So I wrote a letter. I was so private at the time. To write the word for it? No way would I do that. Um, so I just put a letter on my whiteboard that I've shown you a couple times and the squiggly lines around. And I never told anybody, and I still haven't told anybody the meaning of that letter. And and then I started filling out. And when I wrote the feelings and the doings, I only used the first letter. I didn't let anybody know what I was doing. It just was because I was just so intensely private. Talk to people like this when I started, not a chance. This has been healed, as you can tell. um, so this is a process of discovering self. Next, it's time to start practicing creating a new mind over and over. This is a practice process. Yes, you'll find people who just seem to be inspired. Good for them. It wasn't me. I had to I had to dig deep and go for it. I want what? Because I'm coming out of a dark hole. I'm like, somebody show me, you know. Your goal in this step is to master the new mind in the brain as well as the body. Thus, it becomes so familiar to you that you're able to reproduce that same level of being not the same level of knowing, the same level of being at will, and make it look as natural and easy. It's important that you memorize this state of being and thinking equivalent and relevant to its memorized new feeling in the body. Dr. Joe has walk-in meditations that there's one part of them. The first time it hit me, it was just, I didn't expect it. I'm like in my second year of doing the studies with Dr. Joe all by myself. I don't have a community. And I got this walk-in meditations, and there's a park nearby that doesn't have a lot of people in it, and it has a nice loop around in woods that's got a broad sidewalk so people can walk by you when you're doing the zombie walk with a walking meditation. And so I had to walk it a few times with my eyes open just to give myself permission to try doing it in meditation because I was just real insecure because I don't want people walking and looking at me as I walk like a zombie. I mean, I had to kind of give myself permission to be that way. And so after a while, I got to walk in meditation and I started walking it and just kind of following with it, breathe and do this and that. And then he said, uh, see your future self. And then there's one part that got me that I still significantly remember the feeling of the first time. Walk as if you are in that future self. It came down through my head, in my body, and my stride changed, my posture changed, my shoulders relaxed. It was the most unexpected blessing in months. And I'm just kind of strutting like I'm somebody. Instead of this old man who has just been had last 8, 10 years of cancer treatments. And I'm just kind of like, I'm somebody. Look at this. I've got my eyes just open enough so I don't stumble and walk off on the edge of the sidewalk and people walking by me and stuff. And I couldn't care less. I am buzzing, walking as if I was my future self. I had no idea that event was going to happen, except I was in that alpha state walking down the sidewalk, and I just said, okay, I know it. I knew by then what the word was, my future self. I knew by then the feelings and some of the actions, not really how it's going to manifest in my life, but just kind of, and I put that on, and it went through me, and I'm walking down this, instead of going this zombie walk, I'm walking down the sidewalk like I'm somebody. Memorize it so that when you put on that and walk as if, it's a pretty cool thing when it gets a hold of you. Page 274. This entire contemplation process is the building method for making your new mind. A new mind is one of the three legs of the new personality, creating a new personal reality. It is not a casual thing. Take it as a serious ingredient, serious process. Opportunity to write. Please take time to write down your answers to these following questions. No, I didn't write them down. Back then, I'd write something. I've got a small collection of little notebooks that I started writing stuff down, and I'd get about a month into it, and I was haunted by every word I put on a page. I had to quit. I couldn't, people say you write it down, you let it go. I'd write it down and it would go into memory and rehearse. I just couldn't. So I didn't write it down. Everything I've ever read says writing these personal notes down is helpful. If that is your gift, you can do that. I encourage you to take Dr. Joe's suggestion and write them down and go through the process of building. One of the unexpected lessons that I learned of writing it down is I would love to have notes of my first couple of years. those moments of aha that I didn't write down. So many aha moments that I had no one to talk to. I wish I had the courage to write it down. So if you're free to keep it and write it down, I encourage you to do that. Okay. But I had to be honest and tell you I didn't do it. Okay. Let's talk about some of these things to write down. Questions to turn on your frontal lobe, your analytical mind questions. What is the greatest ideal of me? Don't have to be real, but if you could be the ideal you, what would it be? What would it feel like? What would it act like? What would it be? What would it be like to be that ideal self? Who in history do you admire similar to that? What would it take to think like that? How would I be if I were that? How would I be? Put it on. How would I talk to others if I was changed like that? Your talking will change. How can my talking change? Your talking will change because you're no longer in survival mind. So your perspective changes. So the details, the influence that you say will change down to what you say. How or whom do you want to remind myself to be? Who do I want to remind myself to be? Think about it. There's some pretty interesting answers in hindsight. So go ahead and write it down. Be honest with yourself. No one's going to criticize you. No one cares enough to criticize you. Your personality consists of how you think, act, and feel. So in writing those down, think about that. When you come up with your own answers, then contemplate them. Think about them. Here's some more. How do I want to think? That's a hard one because if you don't know what to think, how would you like to think? So it's a perspective thing. I don't know the answers, but how would I like to think? I would like to think with more grace. I would like to think with less fear. I would like to think with less accusation. I would like to think with more freedom. Those are the answers for me when I say, how would I like to think? How do I want to act? Similar to thinking, reflecting from thinking, I want to act with no accusation in me. I don't care just who or how you are. I will defend myself if you assault me, but with short of that, I will give grace. Why? Because I'm not living in survival anymore. I've got bills to pay, so that part is the same. But this other haunting that drove me all my life is just not there anymore. I can act through patience, not artificial. I'll be patient with it. No, it's just I don't have the rush in me. How do I want to feel? I want to feel at peace. I want to feel free to open my heart in love. Not the kind of love that's relationship driven. I have a wife of 50 years that I just love dearly, so I definitely have a relationship feeling. But I want to just, I've learned this thing called love that's an energy frequency thing. I don't love in a relationship. Just sit there and say love, and just the thing rises up, and it's like a light. You've heard me say it many times. Love yourself first, last, and most always. And love yourself like a fountain that overflows and influences all those around you. That's the love I'm talking about. It's like when you turn on a light in a room, it doesn't matter what's in the room. You just light it. That's what happened to me at the conference this week. There's 6 people around me, and their only instruction was to stand there and love the person in front of me. They didn't know me from anybody, would never met, never spoke. And they were all first. I asked them, there were 6 people around me, and all 6 were first time at a conference. And it was blowing their minds. They were their eyes like they had never seen or felt anything like the energy that created when 6 people chose to love somebody who had surrendered. Wow. Sunita, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I've got a question or a comment about the love
Okay.
thing. What if you've never really experienced that love? I have experienced loving a child and loving a husband, but I don't think I know what love is, or I don't
And,
think I've experienced that love.
and that is a real question. Let me tell you, when I started, I didn't know what love was. Didn't even know what love was. Not even maybe. I knew relationship, and that relationship level of love was marginal because of my history. So I didn't even really have a solid handle on that kind of love. But so I tell you my journey, and then you can get an idea. I found a song by Foreigner, I Want to Know What Love Is. And I would sit at my desk for months as I cried, I want to know what love is. I did. Just this old man would sit here with tears in his eyes because I wanted to be a different person. I saw it in my healing meditation, but I hadn't learned how to be it. And so, even though I had that absolutely staggering event, absolutely knew I was not who I was raised to be, absolutely knew I was an electric energy being, I still did not know how to live this life. Yeah, you gotta, there's the rules that we learned are all messed up. We're learning a new set of life rules. Rules might not be the right word. New set of whatever for life. And the first one, you put your finger on it, the first one is love. Can I love? What is love? I think this goes to that statement that I said earlier. You go to the divine and you ask for it.
So if that's I
It's
think
first of
that's,
all, what is it? What it is not is a chemical reaction in the body. It is not a relationship between you and some imagined deity. It is not that. It is a frequency. It is an energy. An energy, let's talk about what you are. You are not a matter flesh with a spirit. You are not a matter flesh hoping to be saved. You are not. You are an energy being divinely created of infinite potential. You just don't know it. Now, what you're going to do is tune in, surrender this life of survival, and receive the light that is there for you. It's a change of perspective of life. It is a death to the survival mind and birth to a energy mind.
so
Dr. Joe uses the word death. Religion uses the word death. Psychology uses the death. When you let go of the survival mind, that personality, not your body, the personality dies. And what is the personality? The mind, the action, and the feelings. That combination quits. The all the events of your life are still there in your memory bank. They're written in the book of life, but the personality, that energy being, goes away. And a new energy being with new knowledge, new actions, and new feelings gets born new. And you learn how to be an energy being for the first time in your life. You are born new as an energy being, which you already are.
So what you're saying is you, in your meditations, you just keep requesting for that
You
experience?
you surrender your heart. Your priority is to surrender. When I was in the coherence healings, I had one direction, one instruction: surrender my heart and receive. That was my instruction when I laid on the heart. My instruction was not to talk about my illness or even think about my illness. Don't even think about it. That's not the issue. The issue, the divine knows what you need. What you need is love energy. The rest will happen. Just like you eat food. You don't have to figure out how to digest your food or even what happens to it. Receive what you need. What you need is an experience. That experience. Open your heart, surrender, and receive. That was the instructions for the people on the floor. And the instructions for the people around me was to love me. Unconditional, just open up and let their hearts turn on love. These were first time conferences. Some of these people only been doing Dr. Joe's work for a few months. And so they just went in, okay, I'll try that. They blew my socks off. It was just crazy the the weight of the energy and the power of the electricity that these people did simply by following that simple instruction. They were to surrender their hearts and love me. They don't know me. There's no relationship there. They just turned on the energy of love. Have you ever picked up a puppy? I'm a puppy guy, so forgive me. Have you ever picked up a puppy and just loved it?
Yes.
That's an example of it. The puppy don't have a relationship with you. He just goes, ah. That's an example. You just opened up your heart and loved it. That's step one. Just do it. There's no relationship there. You just love it. This love is a human thing. It's not a mystic thing. Don't look for some mystic angel. Just love it.
I guess I'm thinking that because when people describe it, like when you read testimonials, people say things like, my heart exploded and it was
Yeah.
like a roaring thunder. And it just feels really alien, as if I don't even know what that is.
That is an explosion of it. It's like when you start turning on the faucet, and that's love. And you start finding it by turning on that faucet, just opening up your heart and turning it on, turning it on, turning it on. And eventually you'll turn it on and connect.
And may I add, I started small, like just focusing on the love I feel for my pet, or just sitting in silence and filling my heart with that, or but I've been living in a bathtub of love for 30 years. I meditate in a bath, but anyway, I'm just trying to help. But
Yeah,
just
just
feel like something you love, just feel that in your
yeah,
heart and it
something you
grows.
love. Yeah, something you love that is not a relationship. A dog or a cat or a bird. Or I like to I put bird seed out each morning, but where in my by my back window, so I can watch birds come down and eat my seeds, and I drink my morning coffee, and I visit with my wife, and we sit there and watch, and I love the birds. There's no relationship there. I just open my heart and go, "Oh, that's beautiful. I just look at that morning dove. Oh, we got blue jays, and I just love it. My heart just opens. Just practice loving." I remember when I was consciously practicing loving, when I would go to grocery shopping with my wife, I would I would go to the store, and I would remember pausing at the door of the grocery store, take a breath, and say, "Love on." And I would just think of myself in a glow of love. And I just didn't matter what came near me. I'm loving this space about me, and I intended it. And people would walk by me, and no connection, no connection. And somebody walked by me, and I would feel a connection. It would connect. It's just the coolest thing. You just go, oh. And you turn, and the person is turning and looking at me like they felt it, and they don't know what it is, but neither one of us say anything. They just kind of like, and I just smile and then turn and go on my way. You just do it. It is something you choose. I love. Just like that feeling for your dog. Now just take that same feeling and just carry it with it. I just love. I just choose to be in love at this moment.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then one day you'll choose to be in love, and an angel will answer you. A messenger will come to you and go, "We heard you. We've been hearing you. We were just waiting." And then you'll know. Then you'll have your own story. You always, always have those messengers with you. We just have not learned how to be very good listeners. It's not them, they're there. We are not good listeners. This love is the phone number, the phone channel that they commune through. And when you get it right, your phone will ring. Yeah, how's that for a messenger, for a metaphor? When you meditate to create a new you, your job is to reproduce the same level of mind every day. That same future self, that feeling, what would it be like? Reproduce it until it becomes familiar. Remember, the word was memorize that in you. You must, there's an important word, you must use your will, intention, and sincerity to go beyond these urges of the body. You must recognize this banter and character and control. You must allow it to rebel, but to bring it back to the present moment. Your body doesn't want you to go up there. It interrupts the survival mind thinking. Expect interference. Oh, well, yeah, I told you. Expect interference. But what do? Well, you ignore it, you acknowledge it, and then ignore it. Say, I'm busy doing this. I'll talk to you later. Always remember what you give value to, you tell your mind to remember. You don't remember it, you don't want to remember it, then teach your mind it's not important. The expression I use for me is, oh, that was just a bad, oh, I remember that. Golly, that was a bad day. Go away. I'm busy. I expect you can come up with your own expression, but that's how I said it. I literally told myself, oh, that was a bad day. I don't deny it. Yeah, I remember I really kind of messed that one up. I let myself get angry and crazy, and yeah, I messed it up. That was a bad day. But look what I'm doing now. Look what I'm becoming now. And so I just kind of throw that away and get into the energy of my new self. That's the redirecting. Rehearsing the memorized you. There are many different means to arrive at the end. That's Dr. Joe saying, I can tell you what I did. I can tell you my journey and my stumblings. There are many different ways to get there. Your story is what's important. Your story uses the same principles that I use. So I tell you my story so you can hear the principles expressed in what I said, and then say, oh, I can understand the principles of why you do it, and then I'm going to apply those principles in my life. You with me? At no time when I'm telling you my crazy story do I expect you to try to repeat me. I hope not, please don't. I hope that you can see principles in what I say. Just think about the greatest expression of yourself and then remind yourself how you will act. Now we've talked about thinking. Now we're going to talk about act. If you think this way, how would that behave? How would that translate into behavior? Like that meditation, walk as if you were already in it. It was fascinating how I felt this energy go through me, and I just stood up and walked. And I started kind of strutting. I'm cool. I did. It was really strange. I started acting as if. If you recall the finger exercise of the piano guys, remember the piano story where the people were given exercise to do on the piano for 5 weeks, and then their brain was tested, and another group was told to just sit and rehearse it in their mind and not do anything with their hands. And there was almost as many brain changes in those who rehearsed it in their mind as the ones who rehearsed it in their mind and did it in their hands. I had a friend that was into really heavy weightlifting, and I was picking up some exercise and stuff. That was years ago. And he was telling me, don't just do the work. You're missing out if you do that. What do you mean? Picture your muscles and energize your muscles. As you do the work, put your mind into your muscles and see them flex. Even in something as mundane as lifting weights, this principle applies. That's why it's so important to rehearse in your mind. So you can't do this all the time. If you're at the office, you can't go into some cross-leg pillow meditation, but you can take a moment every now and then and rehearse, how would I behave if I was already that? Can I bring some of that into me this moment and maybe be a little bit more patient, maybe be a little bit more graceful, maybe be a little bit more free? Becoming the very familiar with you, you rehearse. When you are unconsciously skilled at something, that means you just do it without having to place a great deal on it. When this becomes, okay, I got a minute, I got to take a breath and bring that new energy into me, because that last guy I talked to just took it all out of me. It's just my survival mind won that little struggle. I want to get back to my future self. And you draw it back into you. If this sounds like you, I want you to get another idea behind that. If this sounds like you, think of how universal it is. He wrote a book for around the world for everybody to read, and he used principles of people. All I'm saying is that just means you're normal, not abnormal. You're actually normal. So let yourself be this, and then use his antidote. His antidote is to release and bring in the new self. And here's another conversation I've had. And if you're getting bored, boredom is a good sign. Boredom means you pushed yourself to the limits of your survival mind, and your survival mind wants you to go up and do something else now. Right? Oh, I'm so tired. My mind's screaming, I gotta go do something else. It's so common that it's in the book. What's the antidote? A survival mind has two doors out. One door is to get up and go do something else so that the survival mind can be distracted again. The other door says, I'm going to overcome this distraction of my survival mind, and I'm going to push past it and find out what's on this other side of this fence. And you'll grow and expand that circle of your survival awareness. And you do that again. And I did that in many steps. That's why I'm talking about like this. My survival environment was rather small. And I would say, okay, I'm going to push past, and it got bigger and bigger. And now I'm just kind of like an open person, like. Bear in mind that most of the mental rehearsal exercises that activate and grow new circuits in the brain involve learning knowledge, getting instructions, paying attention, and repeating the skill over and over again. It takes new knowledge to change. If you're making choices from your own knowledge, you're just doing the same thing with a different flavor. You ever gone to a restaurant that no matter what you ordered on the menu, it all tastes the same? It looked different, but somehow it all tastes the same. If you're making different choices with the same knowledge, you're going to get the same life. You need new knowledge. Enter Dr. Joe, and this is about as strange a new knowledge as I've ever found. You get his knowledge and start acting on that knowledge, and you'll be creating a new life. Paying attention. As you know, learning is making new connections. Paying attention is what you're doing. You're giving attention. That attention connects the neurons. Because it involves your being present to the stimuli. If you're absent, if you're not paying attention, it's like sitting in the passenger seat and somebody says, "How did you get here?" Well, I don't know. Well, you were sitting, you saw everything, didn't you? Yeah, but I wasn't paying attention, so I can't tell you how I got here. I was just riding. I got here by riding the car. You got to pay attention to the learning, Dr. Joe, that's actual study and practice and learning, so that when you make choices, it's deliberate, creative, conscious choices. Now you find a way to translate that into your heart energy and let the heart create the chemicals that influence your body and create body memory. Repetition fires wires long-term relationships between the cells. Repetition is what I want to emphasize here. Repetition, repetition. Do not expect to do this in just a few times. You'll be disappointed and you create defeat. The body works by repetition. The mind can learn it in one good reading. You pay attention and the mind will have it. And you say, okay, I'm ready to change. They just don't. You're not against your mind. You're mostly against the chemical habits of your body. That was a lesson I did not expect. I always wondered why I took all these other classes and nothing ever changed. Because I could learn anything. I never taught my body anything new. No one ever told me this was a heart problem, right, that you're dealing with. In your own study of this material, you made some important sympathetic synaptic connections as a precursor to you having new experience. Both of these elements, studying information and having the experience, evolve your brain. Studying the information and driving a behavior and having a behavior and experience rewires the brain. You also being given the proper instruction. Okay, you understand the importance of focus in attending to both mental and physical activity. And finally, it is your repeated effort to rehearse your new ideal that will produce the same level of mind and body. You just got to do it again and again. Dr. Joe, from the first lesson you've ever heard him say, it's a skill. It's practice. This step is for you to practice reproducing the same state of mind so it gets simpler. The key for you is to focus on the frequency, intensity, and duration. I want to settle on the word intensity. Frequency is easy. That means repetition. Duration is time. That's just sit down and give yourself the time to do it. Intensity. I will settle down to one expression. How bad do you want it? If it's a casual thing, then your survival mind is going to win. Okay, that was wrong. Then there's a chance your survival mind is going to win. If you just say, to hell with my survival mind, I'm all in, and you do it with the duration, then you won't let the survival mind have any quarter at all. You're just going to give it everything you got every time, and you're not going to give it all here. You're going to put it in your heart, and you're going to let your heart break as you observe and rehearse. Exercises up here don't break your heart. You choose to observe and rehearse and surrender. Okay, I'm going to do one little part more, then we'll talk. So I'll get your questions ready. I want to get this part in to put all this together. Becoming a new personality produces a new reality. This is something we talked in the beginning of the discussion. Your goal is to, in this step, is to become a new personality, a new state of being, not a new state of knowing, a new state of being, and that's the magic word. Thus, from the quantum perspective, this new personality is the perfect place to create from. If you create from this personality, you'll create stuff from your past because that's what built this personality. The new identity is no longer emotionally anchored to the known situations of your life that keeps recycling the circumstances. You are creating this new future you out of inspiration, not learning, not knowledge that you gained. You're getting it from inspiration in your meditation. Oh, that's what it is. As your heart calls, you'll get answers a little at a time. Okay, there's exceptions. Never compare yourself, because you'll find people that will just go, well, why do you think that was hard? I just kind of. Thus, it says, the new identity is no longer emotionally anchored to the known situations of your life. It was those feelings that were governing your thoughts and attitude. Those old feelings were governing. It built a perspective that ruled your life. So you start allowing yourself to be inspired as you start putting pieces to this future self inspiration that you got, that you labeled. That's that's your compass, your purpose. That's where I'm going. This is what it feel like. This is what it look like. This, and you start adding petals to a flower. The 5% of your mind that is conscious was fighting against the 95% that is subconscious. You can change your mind, but most of your life, this 95% is on automatic, and it is slow to change. It takes repetition, and it takes real sincerity of heart to convince it that, okay, we're going to quit doing that. We're going to start doing this. Simply said, you can't. That's a strong word from Dr. Joe, isn't it? I'm on page 281. Simply said, you can't create a new personal reality while you are still being the old personality. What you create in your old personality is your same old reality. I didn't understand that for the longest time. Most of what I understand now is hindsight, because I demonstrated in my life. My personality changed dramatically, and I got to watch my reality go with it. You have to become someone else. Once you are in a new state of being, that new being, that future self, it's not about what you do, it's about the beingness. Once you're in the new state of being, now is the time to create a new destiny. That's what I learned, is that once I create this new set of being, I said, what if instead of me looking this way at the new state of being, I played like I did when I was looking down and saw my past and was healing my past? I got this idea, well, if I can look down and see my past, well, what if I could put myself up here and see my present? Well, once I learned the exercise of being nobody, no place, no time, remember those meditations? It was just a matter of willing myself to take the view of my future self and look. And the difference in my heart was profound. If you can ever achieve creating your future self and really making a connection with it, and one day you'll be able to go, oh, there's my future. There's my present self. Come on, you're doing good, right? Look at all this stuff you've overcome. Good job. Come on. Okay, this is, and you encourage, instead of looking from your survival mind, go, look at all the stuff you've messed up. Here's my future self saying, look at all the stuff you've overcome. Come on, Ray, keep it at it. These people are loving you. Once you are in a new state of being, now is the time to create your new destiny. Okay, that's the point. I'd like to take a break, take a drink of my tea, and see what somebody has to say about that last discussion. That was big. That was a big part of overcoming. What did we talk about? Just to get everybody's brain back in it. The last part we talked about is rehearsing the memorized self and what you want to memorize, becoming familiar with your new you. Isn't that a cool idea? You can become familiar with your future self. There's an expression that Dr. Joe said in the first couple of years, like, what is he talking about? He uses the expression, remember your future self. And I'm going, how can I remember something in my future? Did anybody else get hung up on that expression? Remember your future self. I can remember my past because it happened. My future hasn't happened. How can I remember it? But see, that was the part I hadn't learned. I'm supposed to create that desire in my future self until I experience it enough so that my inner memory says it happened, and now I can remember what happened in my future that I just created. I thought that would blow the hands up. What did you just say, Ray? Okay, so remember your future self. Becoming a new personality. Aren't we who we are? No. Our personality is based on your third energy center, time. Did you know that? Time, you might have heard that your third energy center is about time, your past and stuff like that. Do you know that is the root and the foundation of your personality, how you express your life? You weren't born this way. You were educated into being this, not through a classroom, but through life. Your past created your personality. You change your mind, you change your behavior, you change your heart, and you will let go of your past and create a new personality based on this future self that you remember. That's cool stuff. That's life-changing stuff. Becoming a new personality. And you change your personality, your reality around you changes. It's really easy to demonstrate. Were you ever a smoker and then you quit smoking? I bet you it wasn't long before you changed friends. Sunita, thank you for raising your hand.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with how do I visualize that new personality? I'm just really struggling.
That's a fair question, and a lot of people haven't.
Yeah. In the meditations, it says now visualize, or I can't remember the exact words he uses, but you're supposed to visualize moments of life in your new person. I just can't visualize what that would
Well,
look
let me see if I can help you at least get on track. If you could be something, don't tell me about wealth, don't tell me about jobs. If you could be some type of character, what would you like turn on? I mean, just what would be cool to you to be that person? Would you want to be a politician?
No, I think I want
Then
to
we
be.
know, okay, so we know what you don't want to be. Would you want to be a soldier?
No, no,
No. So we know you don't want to be. Do you want to be an office worker?
no.
No. So we got a list of don't want to be's. Okay. Use that list. Let's say we put that list in a pile. Now you turn your head. What do you see in the other direction?
Someone kind and loving and just full of love, attracting, not attracting, but just radiating love.
There you go. There you go. Now, how would you express that? How would you, as a human being, be that?
Well, what I imagine, if you ask me honestly, is I just imagine having just the biggest smile on my face and just being radiant with that love and just spreading it into the world.
And how would you do that?
There you got me. That's
No,
a
just how would you love you walk through a crowd of people, how would you do that?
radiate it from my heart, I guess. Like you were saying, as you go through the grocery store, people just feel
There
it.
you go. See, we're getting close. How would you communicate it? Yeah. You meet somebody and somebody is sad and stuff. How would you communicate to them that you love that love is good and that just and you sit Well, I don't want to give you the answer. How would you communicate love to somebody you don't know?
I guess through the way you just interact with them, and you smile and you just
See how far we've gotten? Now, how would you interact? Actually, what would you do in an interaction? You're going through your life and you're living in a community and people know you. What would you actually do now in your interaction just to share your love and grace with them?
feed them, cook for them, hug them, care for them, say kind words to them.
Do you
I
see
don't
how
know.
far we've gone with this conversation? You went from, I don't know, now you're having dinner with people that you don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Joe has a video out somewhere that drove this lesson to me. And I wish I had the link so I could post it so everybody could see it because this is a very common question. The guy confront back a few years ago, Dr. Joe would walk the aisles of a conference and take questions. And this one guy up and confronted Dr. Joe. It was in the question time. Confront's not the right word. His question was, I don't know what I want to be. I just don't know what to do. What do I do with it? And Dr. Joe looked at him and says, pretend I am your worst enemy and I'm confronting you. Do you want to confront me? He says, no. Turn around. Now pretend that I'm not there. Go do something else. Okay. Now what are you doing? And you go, well, what are you doing? You're not doing me. So what are you doing now? And he started talking to him and going through this very simple. And this guy turned around and said, I got it. Do something different that's not what you don't want to do with the intent of finding your heart's desire, finding your heart's expression. There are some people whose heart's expression is to be a nurse. That is hard work. It is heartful work. It's a job that, oh man, nurses, I've never heard of a nurse that didn't work hard. you know, but it's their heart's call. I mean, they get up and that's just who they are. I've known people who are teachers. I think I fall into that category. Who, if I'm not, you get me in a crowd of people and I can't shut up. I want to talk about the lightest, the simple details, the broad strokes, just whatever somebody gives me a chance to explain just thrills me that I get to take somebody's knowledge and skill one more step. It's the coolest thing in the world to do. I didn't invent this. This is just, I got free of my other stuff and this just came out. I know a guy that's a born mechanic. If he ain't fixing something, he ain't happy. His garage is a mess. But it's just, oh yeah, I'm doing, and this is cool. And he gets lit when he gets to take something apart and put it back together. And it just runs like it just buzzes when it runs. What turns you on? Be that. And then share the joy of what gives you joy. What gives you joy?
And then I was just thinking a topic that we could speak about is fear, because a lot of us, um, just like the interactions with people, I don't have that. Um, I have fears in other areas, but interacting with people is simple. My my twin sister is completely opposite. She's introvert. Anyway, I'm just want to because I was thinking about I forget the gal that just talked. I'm sorry. I love your questions and things, but I'm wondering if like looking at our fears and then why what is that fear about? Why am I scared to interact with this person? Why am I scared to open my heart right now? What do I have to lose? What
Right.
interacting with
I'll
this
talk,
person?
I will talk about that in a very
Oh,
broad stroke because everybody has roots of fears.
yeah,
The
in
root
broad
of
stroke.
all fear, the root of all fear is survival. That's the root of all fear. Survival of this matter to matter life, because we think we have been taught from our youngest years that this is our life, and when this life ends, it's like a candle being blown out, and we'll be judged and go to hell. Because nobody's perfect, and since I'm not perfect, I'm going to hell. That's the Christian mindset. I tell you flat out, from my walk with the divine, this dark man walked with angels. If I walk with angels, you beautiful people, you don't have anything to worry about your survival, because you are an infinite, an eternal, luminous, electrical energy being. You are an expression of the divine. You always were, always will be. There is no such thing as death to you. So, what is the root of the fear? The root of fear then is loss. What are we losing? We have a loss of relationship. We have a loss of security. We have a loss. What is that loss based on? It's based on a feeling that we can't reproduce it. We can't resecure it. We don't have enough. We have too much lack. So the root of loss is lack, or the fear of lack. As you learn this lesson, the fear of lack goes away. Why does it go away? I'm an old guy in Social Security and disability. Why am I not worried about lack? Because I have seen provisions come out of nowhere in the most unexpected place when I needed something and wanted something. It just does. It's bizarre how circumstance happens. So lack is a lack of connection to the divine. When you get this right, your sense of lack evaporates. Your sense of fear evaporates right with it. It does.
And it's a faith in, like, I'm just feeling it myself, a faith. When I hear the faith of a mustard seed can move a mountain, I used to go, yeah, right. But now I'm like, seeing that power, that God loves us so much that, yeah, right, I do love you that much. Like, if you want something, it will be granted, but you have to work together with me on the vibration. Or anyway,
it has nothing to do with faith.
Well, I guess it depends on your definition of faith. What I mean is,
faith
it's science.
It's science. Faith, when you have faith, let's say you have faith in me. I will tell you not to have faith in me.
What's the definition?
Faith means you don't have the knowledge. Faith means you don't have the
knowledge.
No.
I'm not talking my faith. My definition of I don't know what you're saying. No, I'm talking about faith that I make a request and it's provided.
Don't make a request. Dr. Joe does not say make request.
I'm not saying that either.
You did say that.
Well, yeah, but we have different definitions of request, I think. What is that? What I'm trying to say? I have a belief in a power now that I can align with, that will really improve my life and loves me. That's what I'm sort of.
That's closer.
That's what I'm
still are putting saying. The responsibility.
I'm not an orator. I'm a chemist.
You still are putting the responsibility on the divine to save you. I'm saying, Dr. Joe saying, it's up to you to have the knowledge and do the work. When you do the work, and you tune, you are the conscious, deliberate creator of your life.
Sorry, I'm talking about manifesting, in The Secret and all that stuff. I'm sorry.
They got it wrong.
Yeah.
They did not. They have really good head teachings, but they don't teach the heart.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, but what I am saying is that I love Dr. Joe. These teachings have really were meant to be at this part in my life. So, and everybody else is here, and everybody else on the planet, it's meant to be. But gosh, I don't know. I just know that I've had a shift, and I can see what Newtonian energies are now, and my past, and all those things that I was judging, and anger and all that stuff, and I can see quantum energies as separate now, and having a faith in faith, different definitions,
Yes.
having a belief in the quantum reality of that it's all about love.
Right. I have a
Yeah.
knowledge in that quantum stuff. I have a knowledge that I know if I can tune to what I desire, I can draw that energy to me from the infinite potential, and I can radiate that energy out and draw to me what I need. I create my personal
Right,
reality.
right, right. We start the creation. We do. Yes,
Right.
yes.
So
Yeah. And
none
that's,
of what I said had anything to do with belief or faith.
oh, okay. So, for me personally, I have to kind of look at it like that. But, uh, I think we're talking about the same thing.
We're talking about
It's about love.
this Western society is trained to the terms of faith and belief.
Oh, no, I don't
I
believe in any of that. No, no, I wasn't
You're
even raised on
using
any of
their
that.
terms.
I'm not using, no, I wasn't raised on any of that. I have a different kind for just me, a personal relationship I've had with my beloved all my life. So
Yes,
yeah, I don't, yeah, I have never even read the Bible. I don't even,
good.
but,
So it's
so
not about faith with your beloved, it's about
no,
relationship. You have a
okay, yeah,
relationship with your
no,
beloved, and you
no,
have a knowledge of that
yeah,
relationship. In that knowledge, you make your choices. You don't make choices based on belief. You make choices in the knowledge of your relationship. And that knowledge gives you confidence to act. And in that confidence to act, your heart stirs and you radiate this
yeah,
new the expression
yeah,
of all
yeah.
that is knowledge. None of
I
that
love
is
it.
belief.
No, I love it. No, what I'm saying, I guess right now I'm learning. So I'm learning. So I'm trying to, it's kind of like, uh, learning my saxophone, a new song.
Mhm.
I have faith that I'm going to learn the song, kind
That's
of.
where you start. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I have faith that I'm trying to learn this. I don't have, but I believe the process is, as sure as gravity.
Right. And what you
Okay.
do when you play your horn is you gain knowledge and repetition, you gain skill. And in that skill, you create music that you love.
Yeah. Okay.
That's your music personality. You now create music through knowledge, confident action, and
Action.
heart expression.
Yeah.
The faith was put away because now you know. And in that
Yeah.
knowing, you create music.
And I think the more I create music, the more I'll just know, I know.
There it is.
Ding! Okay,
That's what I
okay,
wanted to hear. We
okay.
got there.
That's okay. Whew, that was
We
fun.
got there.
Okay.
Oh, I was worried I was going to offend something by being too
Oh
strong.
no. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for getting there. Anne Marie, thank you for having your hand up.
So I actually have two questions.
Okay, I'll try.
Um, my first question is related to, but let me get them both out because they're totally unrelated and I don't want to
Okay,
forget.
okay,
The
go.
first question is related to what she was just talking related to gaining skills. And I was wondering if is there a way, and I know some of the examples in the book, but do you believe you absolutely have to practice, or do you believe you can just manifest like the gift of being an amazing instrumentalist or something, or the gift of being able to sing, or the gift of being an artist through this process without having to go through the years and years and years of practice? That's question one. But the more interesting and important question to me is related, this work is related to this work is such an active process. It requires a level of awareness, awakeness, consciousness. What does that say for the mentally challenged and disabled population, and autistic adults and children, and I was just curious, how to when this has such a truth to it about our existence, what does it say for that? What does it say for that population? Or how does
Okay,
that work?
Okay, I'll take the first
Any
one first.
thoughts?
I know the
Okay,
first one
good.
you said is the least important, but it's the easiest to answer.
Yes, I know.
Life is full of people. It's not full, but there's a lot of people throughout life who just seems to know. They sit down and they got it. It's like, it took me months to do that. And they sit down and, oh, you didn't do that? No, how'd you do that? I don't know. I just followed the directions and did it. What about children who just
Mhm.
play music as a child? What about the math prodigy that's like 10 years old and he's doing college advanced calculus? Just the life has got many, many examples of some people who just got it. They were programmed, they receive it, they got it. There's stories of people who had very hard lives and they got past it and they just woke up. Yeah, you don't have to go through a year or two a year of drilling discipline. If you can if you can tonight sit down and
Surrender. Yep.
surrender your survival mind and let the divine pour into you, that's all that's needed. That's what all the practice is for to achieve. If you can do it without a year of practice, jump. Don't even look back, just jump. Yes.
Yeah. When you were saying that, that was coming to me. It's this letting go and believing and surrendering and trusting. Then you have to
Yeah.
walk out and trust that you
Yeah.
know and you
That's it.
understand and walk in it.
Thank
That's
you
it.
for
Yeah.
that. Trusting versus faith. Now, I'll use trust instead of,
I was careful
yeah,
to,
thanks,
yes.
Trust
sweetie. Yeah,
trust
I
was the
like that
right
word.
word. Yeah, because I had when I was on the floor going, I had to trust. Okay, take it. There was a level of surrender and trust. You know,
Yeah.
because I didn't have knowledge. I was it's like, what the hell's going on? So I just gave it up as a type of trust. Just I had the knowledge of what I was involved in, but I had no idea what was going on. So I just trusted the system. Okay. So yes, you don't need to go through the process. The process is to help you get through and do little steps of giving up and getting there. Okay, question two. The interesting thing that you added to this is autistic children. Have you ever seen that tape set of what is that tape set where about the autistic children that you ever notice where blind people can hear better or deaf people can sense better? Autistic people as a community are the most psychic class of people on the planet. Not psychic can mean that they do seances and stuff. Intuitive,
No.
sensing,
Right.
the most sense-based people on the planet as a class of people. And it's been tested and tested and tested. It's an absolute true scientific fact. Their problem is not that they're not intelligent. Their problem is not that they don't sense. Their problem is getting it out, their expression. They're not
So,
retarded in the sense, well, some of them have real brain damage, but most of them just have this communication system between their thoughts and their expression where they get kind of
but what about like
telepathy tapes. Thank you, Dina.
yes.
You got it. If you
What
can't,
about, I've heard of those. I've heard of those. What about those who are not there's like a learning disability or there's like cognitive challenges or there's like, oppositional defiance. I work with the mental health and the physical. I have a little boy who's 5 with muscular dystrophy. And I want to believe that this work could help this kid walk and like
absolutely.
somehow the parents could intervene and like, and I want to believe, and I've been exposed to a lot of people with like mental health challenges, and I want to believe, but the one of the challenges why I'm asking this is because do you think it's just going to be like this is where the savior complex or the like wanting to heal can be overwhelming because I'm like, how can they do it other than people standing in the gaps for them?
All the above. And yes, sometimes they simply can't. Think of people they were born in terrible war zones and for generations, not last 6 months, for generations, their community has been at each other. What chance does a child have to grow up with a civil mind? Not a chance in hell. Just not a chance to grow up and have taught nothing but hate and venom, and people around them are being killed, and all they are taught, we got to kill the bad guys, and that's their whole philosophy of life. What chance do they have? Their parents have been killed, their cousins are killed. What comes to mind is the Palestinians in and by Israel. What chance in hell do those children have of growing up to be a civil person? What can you do for somebody like that except hope for them and give them some love energy and hope that somehow in the turn of the universe that something can fix that? I don't see a solution. Where I go, once again, this is just my journey and it shares my principles. Where I go is that I know that sometime in the distant future, this sun in this solar system will go supernova, and it will end everything that's carbon based all the way out to Mars. All life will be burned to death. What does that mean? It will not just burn to death, it will burn to non-existent. Life is eternal. Some people get born into a life of abject royalty, just wealth beyond the wildest imagination of most of us. And some of them are born in hell. It is the spectrum of water. The spectrum of water is what I mean by this. The ocean is quiet and it's a big abyss. And the sun comes out and evaporates some water into clouds. Some water quickly returns to the ocean and just says, "Yay, I'm back home." Some water rains on a river, and the river quickly finds its way back to the ocean. They go, "Yay, I'm fine." Some water falls in a swamp, and that water sits there for 1,000 years. And never in 1,000 years does that little bit of water make it back to home, to the ocean. Some water falls in the great North Poles and in ice that sits there for 10,000 years and never makes it back home into the ocean. Some water finds it in ponds and lakes and goes through animals and goes back to the lake and goes to animals and goes back to the lake, goes to the animals. And over 1,000 years, never makes it back in the ocean, but it cycles through water, then animals and waters and animals and clouds and animals back and forth. At any point in any of those cases, is any one drop of those waters not a part of the ocean? The answer is obviously no. It was rhetorical. So yes, it's terribly sad to see. But they are all expressions of the divine in its infinite creation expressions. And some of it looks beautiful and we rejoice it, and some of it looks painful. It is all, without exception, an expression of the divine and an eternal life of the divine.
So if that's the case, then are we to try to stand in the gap, or we just accept that as that is the divine expressing itself in that way for that reason, than which
We
we
are
will not
always,
know?
always to love ourselves and our neighbors. The
Or
whole law,
opportunity for us to
the
love
whole
more?
law is built on that. Entanglement says that there is no such thing as a separation of an electron, not even an electron. You are entangled with life on Mars if there is such a thing.
Right.
It's scientific fact. That's not religious woo-woo.
Do you think it's
With that, love your neighbor, love them. When within your ability, love them and serve them.
do you think it's ego then to want different for them?
Depends on what's behind what you want. If you want to just serve them, serve them. If you want to serve them because you think it makes you look important, there's your answer. Just serve them. I
Or
can't
do you
help
just
the
want them
people
to have a
I
better
can't
life?
help the people in Palestine. but I can help the people in the circle of my life. Stretch out your hands. Who's in the circle of your life? Participate in their life. Are you driven to serve people in prison? Go do it. You'll be doing it in pureness because they can't give anything back to you and there's no reward for it. No one else cares. So you'll just be serving because your heart calls you to it.
I'm driven to serve at this moment, to serve, I think, these people with mental health challenges. But part of it is that I want to believe that somehow I could be a conduit or there is some hope for change and healing.
That
To
you just
just
defined.
serve and accept that this is just how it is and I'm just here to love you, which is beautiful and I can do that, but it's hard.
You just defined why I'm sitting here every Sunday night. I am here because I am expressing my love to people I don't know. And I hope the little things that I give and say will help each of you just a little bit on your journey. And in that
Right.
hope, I have my payment. That is why I spend hundreds of dollars a year doing this, giving it away, hoping that my humble words can make a positive influence on people who take the time to hear me.
By the way, that water analogy was beautiful. Is that yours?
Yes.
That's beautiful. That should be written down and shared. You
Yeah.
can put it out in a book. You might have one of your
No,
books
not
because
yet.
that was very eloquent.
Yeah. So you just defined why I do this. Because I get to give something that I hold precious and hope it's received in the value that I hold it.
So then there's not really any teaching of this work within that community. It's more of a standing in the gap and loving on and just consistently and listening to promptings of my soul as to how to serve in that moment than actually.
You just defined the lesson of the coherence healing. When they came in, they were to open their hearts and give what their guidance was to give and not speak a word to anybody about it.
Mm.
You're on the right track. I mean, your words are exactly what I do and what the instructions are. Go do that. Find what rings your heart that you can give as a giver and hope that it touches somebody's heart. Yeah, if you could find somebody to give, the value of a gift is in the receiver, not the gift. You guys getting excited about my humble words and the way I stumble through this chapter is what rings my bell. I get off this Zoom call and I go and tell them I got paid today. Let me tell you what happened. And I talk about one of you hearing what I said and understanding it and taking it a little step further in their life. That's my payday. That's why I spend hundreds of dollars every year in my meetup page, my Zoom page, and my video processing page, all this stuff I do. It costs me money. And I do it to get those little expressions I get back from you saying, oh, I got that. That was good. And I go, oh, I got paid. I do. That's my payday. This is my heart's desire. This is what rings my bell.
The heart of a teacher.
I didn't create this. Are you kidding me? I was a recluse. I couldn't talk. I wouldn't tell somebody my name without a cause. When mine number 5 opened up, I ain't shut up since. I got something to say. Who would know? Who would have think it? Okay, that was good. I got a little bit more of this chapter, I think. Oh, it's actually a lot more. It's getting late. Oh my goodness. I got to finish this chapter. This is good. Creating a new destiny. This part of the step is where you, as the new state of being, this new personality, create a new personal reality. This is a step where you put all three parts, the knowledge, the action, and the heart together and create the the personality, and that will change your life. Just like, well, anyway, from an elevated state of mind and body, this is the heart. From an elevated state of mind and body, love, joy, self-environment, and more coherent energy. Here is where you see those images in your mind which you want to create in your new life and your new personality. It's not about stuff. It's about a state of being. If I was this, wouldn't it be cool if I could do that? You, as a quantum observer, are commanding matter to continue to your intention. This is where finally, give up trying to figure out how or when or where or with whom. Draw it to you. When you create that future self, the universe will find a way to express it. It just grows. You'd have to experience to understand just how absolutely true that statement is. Guided meditation rehearsal meditation. Guided mental rehearsal meditation. It's time to reinvent the new you by moving you into a new state of being, not doing, being, that reflects your new expression of self. You have a new being you want. I want to be that. How would I feel and how would I express it? Not necessarily day by day job, but how would I express this? I think I thought I'd express it by talking, and now I don't shut up enough. Then once you are a new being in your meditation, the new being is a new personality, and a new personality creates a new reality. You will change as your personality changes. It's just how life is. The guided mental rehearsal meditation, creating a new you, rehearsing the new you, creating the new destiny. As you unfold the new self, remember to move into that state of mind. Let the pictures come to you. Bond with your future. Begin to free associate. In other words, let something come to you. Become empowered and manifest in your mind. Allow yourself to experience the future. Don't try to create it. Allow the inspiration to give you dreams, to give you something new. Week 4 guided meditation. Helpful hint. During the guided meditation, you may find yourself feeling so good that you naturally make statements like to yourself, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am genius, because you feel that very real way. That's great. It means your mind and body are aligned. It's important for you not to analyze what you're dreaming. Don't analyze it. Just enjoy the movie. Guide to continuing. You've just devoted the past several weeks to learning meditation practice that can become a lifelong means to help you evolve and create the life you want. Not a few months. You're trying to create your future self that is your lifelong self. It's like purpose. Purpose isn't something you achieve and then you go get another purpose. That's your compass, your life compass. You don't do it today, you just do it and you continue. At this point, many people ask questions such as, how can I continue? Once I have mastered this process, what do I do? How long should I keep working on this same aspect? How will I know when I'm ready to peel away another? As I keep using this process, how can I decide which part of my old self to change? Can I use this process to work? Go through these. Some of these will resonate with you and some of these won't. And you'll get answers to them if you contemplate on, if you allow yourself just to rest on them. Make this meditative process your own. If you continue to do all the steps every day, what used to feel like 7 steps will begin to be simplified. It becomes simply a flow process where you contemplate it and you work toward that future self. And you'll have things that will come up that you go change. And this is what I'm doing now. You'll have things that will stick, not because they're important, but mostly I find the ones that stick have hidden things underneath them. So the goal is to get these put away so you're comfortable knowing that there's something below it. Keep peeling away those layers. Making periodic adjustments to your meditation is natural and to be expected because you aren't the same person you were to begin. If you start with the future self and you've evolved enough to go, if I change this a little bit better, that would be what I really, really, one step even improved myself. Do it. There's no rules to this. The whole rule is to find your heart and go for it. Find your purpose, your life interest. Only you can determine when and how quickly you're ready to move ahead. So approximately every month, do some self-reflection. Look to your life and feedback on what you're creating and how you're doing. This isn't a strict rule-based thing. Do you understand that what you're doing is very sensitive? I understand it. It's very sensitive. And if we have that conversation again next month, her answers may be different. Fine. That's actually a good thing. That means she's been tuning to it and feeling herself a little bit, and she really wants this more. Her heart wants this more. Fine. That's a good thing. That means she's evolving and redirecting. That's part of the process. Go for it. On the last page of this chapter, if you haven't already done so, I invite you to visit my website, drjoe.dispenza.com, and look for the supplies, meditations, and widgets and gadgets. And if you're kind of a heady kind of person like I am, you just might really like his book, Evolve Your Brain. By Dr. Joe. It's also called The Science of Changing Your Mind. This book has no meditations in it. The word is the science of changing your mind. It's a really challenging book. What it did for me is that took away all the wondering if this is really what it says it is. That science gave my analytical mind permission to go at it because I knew this was real when I read that. But I'm telling you, this book is no slouch book. It's a real challenge, at least it was for me. The Science of Changing Your Mind. That's what I had to say tonight. And I love the discussions we had. Let's have a little bit more before we go. Talk to me. No? I thought that was good stuff. Olga, hello, girl.
Hello. Do you hear me okay?
I hear you. What can I do
Yes.
for you tonight?
Oh, you already did so much. That was great. Great reminders, and I inspired how many kind of summaries you told us today. I mean, summaries from the book, all the steps and stuff. Yeah, I should definitely do work after with all this writing exercises. I did it a year ago, but I think should repeat it.
And that's part of the process. You don't do it, then you do it, and each step helps you let go of something new. That's good. There's no criticism in that. Good for you. Go for it. It helped you let go of one more thing.
Yeah, I know my like most difficult things which I should let go, but these questions they kind of very wide and open and help to understand. When you today read them, I kind of had some insights, aha moments, and so on. So yeah, and your discussion with Anita also was incredible when you ask her questions about future self, and so nice.
Good. I like that
Thank
you kind of say, okay, now I'm going to start over again, or I'm going to start, but do it differently. That's all good stuff. Just that's good stuff because it shows, okay, I've got this other thing in me that's hiding, but I can't do it this way, so I'm going to do it this way, and then I can get to it. It sounds good. Go for it. Write it down, become familiar with it, and start redirecting it. Devalue it, always devalue it. If you scream at it, you just told your mind that this is important. Remember it. It's like going down the road and you hit a bump and you go, ah! Why does the body do that? The body does that because you did something important, and the body signals, rushes the brain and says, remember what happened so you don't do it again. Except that we rehearse it 1,000 times and we do it 1,000 times in our head, even if we never do it again. So the solution is every time you think of that thing you want to change, you devalue it. Oh yeah, the expression I use, and you hear me use, oh, that was just a bad day. I make it less and less and less important. And I forgive me. Oh yeah, I had a bad day. I forgive you, Ray. Let's just put that away. And I'm doing this now. Did you see this cool stuff I'm doing? This is cool. I make that devalue and I release my heart so I'm not holding on. And I go, oh yeah, but I'm doing this now. This is cool. And I turn my energy that used to look at that to looking at that. And I do it again, 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 again. You know that part where that lady asked about the skills and you just get it in a gift? That wasn't me. I have had to struggle and pick at every little freedom I've gotten. But I want it. I want it. I know I got the gift of seeing what's on the other side, and I want it.
Maybe if it's possible, you can share some words about your experience. During the Klong, if you want.
I'll share one because it was really unexpected and it had nothing to do with coherence healing. It was just during a meditation. It was during a walking meditation, the first walking meditation, and it was early morning. It's like 6:30 in the morning, and the temperature was about 70 degrees, so it's a real comfortable but cool temperature. And the wind was blowing, and the sky had clouds rushing across. You know how sometimes clouds just sit there? These clouds are moving. And the sun was real low on the horizon. And I'm walking, and I come across this little walk bridge that's there, and you can see some water in the distance. And I just paused for a minute as it following meditation. And I'm looking at the horizon, and I had this cognitive moment. It was so cool because I'm just looking there, listening to Dr. Joe telling us to go deeper and stuff like this. And so I allow myself to just rest and go in. And the world turned into oneness. I don't know another. It just turned into oneness with all kind of different. It sounds contradictory. It's oneness with different points. And I understood my future self. I understood my past self. I understood this line of time, which is really not time, but just different energies. It was just a moment of cognition that just seemed to come out of nowhere because I'm just in this meditation cruising. I'm not hunting for inspiration. I'm just cruising on Dr. Joe's words and doing what he says, letting go, bringing energy up, releasing in and out and in and out, and just going, and I'm just thinking and stuff like this. And all of a sudden the world went away. And this new oneness cognition just filled my mind with what I could see. And I just got to stand in that for a few minutes and not just a blink, for a few moments. And it really touched me deeply. That was one of the really cool things that just came out of nowhere. I thought, well, you asked me, and so I told you. That was one of my moments.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wow. Even I run out of words too, and all I got left is wow. Yeah, me too. I left there. I was almost starting when it all cleared, and I'm back in the walk, and those people all around me, and we're back into the matter and separation. I was just like, can I get that back? Can I get more of that? I no, but that was my wow moment where I was just doing a meditation, just out of nowhere. My eyes was I'm doing a walk meditation, so my eyes are open. I'm in low beta, maybe a little bit of alpha, and just cruising, listening, like, and then this happened. Yeah, wow. I don't have another word. It's too big for any other word, so I come up with wow.
Did I understand correctly that you were Healy in this session,
Did
right?
what? What?
I mean, you,
Yes, I was a Healy in this conference.
nice.
There's 3 events where Heelys lay on the floor and different people each time stand over you. And
Yeah, I know, I know. Different even. Okay.
yeah, and nobody knows anybody because we got 1,800 people and they crowd in and then they sort them out, put them in together, and then just line them up. So nobody know, every time you do it, it's going to be it's like shuffling cards. Everybody's different every time. And nobody knows, they're told how to process their energy and their love and their release. That's all. And they're told, don't talk. Nobody says their names, anything. You go in, you don't talk to the guy next to you, you don't talk to anything. After the event, when people are sitting up and relaxed, then the Healy can initiate talking if he chooses. If he doesn't, you do not initiate, you as a healer do not initiate talking to the Healy. It's his experience for him. If he doesn't talk to you, you don't talk to him. But I tell you what, when that meditation is over, you are busting to say thank you and touch the hands of each one of those. I mean, just your heart is just like, oh, thank you. Just like what an experience. And then people start talking. But the instruction is if he don't talk, you don't talk. If he don't reach out a hand to touch you, you don't touch him. You don't, the healers do not initiate at any point. And it is just uncommonly an experience, just absolutely. Now, did everybody get the depth that I had? No. A year ago, when I had my first coherence healing. I think maybe it was 2 years. I just got a nice love hug in all three cases. Nothing much. I didn't make noises. I didn't over exaggerate. I got a little bit of tear because of the depth of love, and that was it. And I just said thank you to people, and we got up and left. That was not this time. This time I'd evolved my ability to open up much more. I'd evolved my ability to surrender more totally. I evolved my ability to tune in to the energies much more than I did 2 years ago. And I got myself rocked. I got rocked this time. Everybody's different. Everybody's on a different level.
I'm happy for you that you had such big experience. We'll see how it will influence body.
I am still learning, still growing, still loving that you and the others here receive my gift of wisdom that I humbly give. Just love the idea that I have something to say that people will receive. It's like a musician who has no one to hear his music. He kind of gets dumpy. but you get a crowd in front of a musician and he lights up and he plays. It's like an engineer who wants to design something and no one cares. Just you have a gift and you just want someone to receive it in the heart that is given. And that is y'all's gift. Y'all's, how's that for Texas? That's y'all's gift to me. And every Sunday I go, wow, that was good. Sometimes Wednesdays and Thursdays I get dumpy. I got to do all this work. I got to do all this work. And then I get on Sunday and I just light up. So now you know that I receive your gift of receiving my gift. How's that?
Beautiful.
All right, that's getting pretty personal, I think. Anything else? It's 10 o'clock or thereabouts. Yeah, it's almost 10. I knew this was going to be a good chapter with a lot of discussion. The most important 2 points to end with is that you change your personality, you will change your reality. And personality is knowledge, actions, and heart, feelings. You can't change one, you got to change all of them. Driven by new information, you'll have new experience. Driven by new experiences, if you process it right, you'll change your heart and change your life, change your environment, everything. The second thing is find a way to fall in love with your future self. The personality will set your compass to your future self. That's what I want. When you change, I'm not doing anymore. See that over there? That's my future self. And that's the most important thing in my life. And everything in my life is shaping to go there. Go away. I'm busy. Whatever it takes. And those are the 2 primary lessons of this chapter. Your personality ingredients in building, and fall in love with your future self and what it takes to do that. It took me a while to find it. So when you say you're having troubles, it don't impress me. Yeah, some people really have to work because their heart has been broken and turned off. And to turn it back on takes choosing and effort and forgiving yourself. Forget about forgiving somebody else. Forgive yourself until your heart opens enough to find its desired self. Yeah, I know. It's a heart call. I used to sit here all by myself and just shed tears. There's a song I played, I think I told you guys, by Foreigner. I Want to Know What Love Is. I used to sit here and before I meditated, I'd play that song and just shed tears because I ached to know. I don't know what love he's talking about, but I knew in me what I wanted. And I used to play that and just shed tears. I really did, all by myself. Here I'm 70 years old, sitting at my desk and just shedding tears because I so wanted to know what that love is. So find that song by Foreigner. I Want to Know What Love Is. And you'll have an inside view of what my heart was for a while. Okay, with that, I'm going to end chapter 13. Next week, we'll finish the book with chapter 14. It's a light chapter if I remember right. So I hope you do this stuff. I'd like to hear how these last 4 chapters have changed you, have touched you, have you used them? Could you write up something to tell me about it, just to give me my paycheck? Tell me that my efforts have changed your life and how. It would thrill me to know. It would really thrill me. It really would. To know that you cared about what I said and about your own self-love to actually try to do this and put it into practice. Please, please, please don't make this a philosophy where you read the book, it's a cool book, and you put it on the shelf and you can talk about it. This is not meant to be a cool book. It's meant to be a lab instructions of what to do. Okay, that's enough. I'm just talking in circles now. Thank you. My heart just so rejoices that you spent this time with me. Love you all. Have a good night. See you next week.